Hello, my name is Babatunde Gbadamosi. I'm the gubernatorial candidate of the Action Democratic Party in Lagos State. I'm also the chairman and chief executive officer of Red Brick Homes International Limited, the developers of Amen Estate on Eleko Beach Road, Ibejuleki, Lagos.
Babatunde Gbadamosi, the governorship candidate of the ADP, was born in England but grew up in Nigeria. He attended Lagos State University. He is currently a player in the real estate industry in Nigeria. He contested twice for the Lagos State governorship primaries. He is currently contesting on the platform of the ADP as the governorship candidate in the 2019 general elections. Meet Babatunde Gbadamosi.
All they built in 3 years is one signboard, one gatehouse, and one house. Yours is even better. You can see one signboard, one gatehouse, and one house within 3 years. In my own case, after 1 year, there was no longer a signboard. All phone numbers were unavailable. If we go.
What? That's bad. As for me, I'm glad my steps were ordered to remain in State Phase 2. I saw their history, capabilities, their investment. What they put into Phase 1 in terms of roads, drainages, the whole infrastructure. They're legit. I felt safe joining Phase 2, taking advantage of their introductory prizes.
Be smart, be wise. Key into Amen Estate Phase 2. You too can live a quality lifestyle in a serviced development where everything works. I was born about 51 years ago in England to the family of Fatai Karadi and Jemilat Gbadamosi. Shortly after I was born, in fact, precisely about 8 months after I was born, my late grandfather, S.O. Gbadamosi, came to England and brought me back to Nigeria with him. I lived in Nigeria under his care and then under the care of my late uncle, Chief Rashid Abiodun Gbadamosi. And under him, I attended Kekotun Primary School in Surulere, also attended Government College Lagos on Eric Moore Road, and then on to Government College Victoria Island, and then on to Government College Ikorodu. Yes, my secondary education was quite nomadic. I got 4 credits at my WAEC O-levels at Government College Ikorodu, and so I had to go on to Lagos State School of Basic Studies in Agidingbi, which is now a government technical college, by the way, to get my remaining credit to be able to enter university. Fortunately, I was able to do that, and subsequently I gained admission into the Lagos State University at Ojo. I spent 3 years there and left in 1989 after a most traumatic incident that left me scarred for a long time. I left for England in 1990, and there I stayed for 17 years, swinging from initially being employed to eventually being self-employed and to eventually becoming an employer of labor with vast investments in real estate and IT consultancy. When we moved back to Nigeria in 2007, finally, we started the development of Amen Estate. And the idea was, just because I was lazy like that, and I didn't want to have to go looking for diesel, or to have to start operating a pump and borehole, or to have to start taking care of my own sewage by calling the pump people, the sewage trucks to come and pump sewage. I decided that I was going to build an estate that would deliver all the creature comforts that I'd come to become used to in England. And that's exactly what we did. We had a lot of resistance from government mainly, and also from people that should have known better in the professional cadre. But we forged ahead regardless. And today, Amen Estate has had 24 hours electricity for the last 8 years, 24 hours water for the last 8 years, 24 hours tight security for the last 8 years. Our streets are clean, they're never flooded. And all of this we've done, irregardless of the naysayers that have said it is not possible in Nigeria. Now it is this that we have decided to bring to the people of Lagos State, so that it is not just 300 families out of the entire about 5 million families in Lagos that will enjoy the perks, the basics of life. this current government have failed Lagosians on so many fronts. Because if you think about it, at Amen Estate, we do not collect personal income tax, that is PAYE. We do not collect land use charge. We do not collect advertising and hoarding fees from any advertisers. We do not collect abattoir fees. We do not collect market fees. We do not collect money at the motor park at Eleko Junction. We do not collect all the charges, levies, fees and rates that government collects, and yet somehow we've been able for the last 8 years to provide all the services, all the basic services, utilities and infrastructure that people would normally need to live a quality life in Lagos here at Amen Estate. The skills and experience we've gathered over the years is what I want to bring to the fore to help Lagosians begin to realize their dreams and to help to bring back all the dreams that have been cut short over the last 20 years of a clearly inept and incompetent government. For those of you that might have doubts to the contrary, the fact is we have had just the one government in the last 20 years in Lagos State. Yes, the personnel have changed, but the ownership of government has not changed. Fashola came and went, but there was a godfather hovering in the background. Ambode came and he went in the most ignominious manner, disgraced publicly by his own godfather and his party. Not for governing according to them, not for governing badly as far as they could see, but for not being a party man. And what do they mean by that? It's simply euphemism for not sharing enough money out to party apparatchiks. And the chief apparatchik, we know who he is. He's somewhere in Ikoyi, in a place called Bodilon. And some people like to call the place the Lion's Den. Thankfully, I have no such baggage. I have no such monkey on my back. Anything that the people of Lagos State pay in taxes, we will use for the people of Lagos State and for nobody else. Our plan is to redevelop Lagos. Our plan is to regenerate Lagos. We cannot do it all at once, and we cannot do it alone. We will forge partnerships with agencies, with governments across the world, and we will reach out to Nigerians across the world who are living out their dreams in other climes when they could be contributing in a more germane environment to the growth of Nigeria, and in our case, of Lagos State. If you have any questions, please call the number that is displayed on your screen now. You can call us via WhatsApp video. That's what we prefer actually. We prefer you to call us via WhatsApp video, so you can join this show and ask any questions that you might want to ask. My name once again is Babatunde Gbadamosi, and I'm the gubernatorial candidate of the Action Democratic Party in Lagos. As far as our plans, we have something called the Lagos Integrated Regeneration Plan, which involves setting aside certain funds. I'll be specific. The funds that are currently being paid to the Alpha Beta Tax Consultancy Agency and its sister agencies that are leeching off taxpayers' money in Lagos State. We were told at the last time we checked that the money was about 9 billion every month, and that it has been about 9 billion every month since March 2007. Considering the secrecy that surrounds the finances of Lagos State and how our taxes are spent, we have no choice but to go with what we're hearing, the snippets that we're hearing, since those controlling the arms of government are refusing to tell us how they're spending our money and what they're actually spending and for what. So 9 billion every month we will sequester and put towards the Lagos Integrated Regeneration Plan. We'll put this towards the Lagos Integrated Regeneration Plan, where we have selected 8 specific local governments: Ikeja, Ikorodu, Oshodi Solo, Mushin, Apapa, and Ibejuleke. All have been selected for their industrial capacity so that we can have quick returns on investment. We also selected Badagry and Etiosa, as well as Ibejuleke once again, all for their tourism potential. And what do we plan to do? We plan to redesign and rebuild all of the infrastructure in these local governments. And then we're also going to put in place certain services and utilities and infrastructure that these local governments lacked in the past, including central sewage, better drainage. We expand the road, we put in pedestrian walkways, because right now the problem we've had for the last 50 years has been we develop our roads forgetting that people actually walk, that pedestrians actually use the roads. So we design only for vehicles, but that's going to stop. We're changing the design policy in Lagos State for our public utilities. Join us after the break.
Place safe and secure for the kids.
Okay.
With electricity 24/7.
Okay.
Good roads, no flooding. I mean, a good place to raise children. Do you have something at Amen Estate?
No. But I have something just sharing fence with Amen Estate.
Now we need something inside Amen Estate.
I have this one just right opposite Amen Estate.
No. Find us something specifically inside Amen Estate.
I have this one just adjacent to Amen Estate. Or even this one perpendicular to Amen Estate. Or this fantastic one right under Amen Estate.
No, if it's not Amen Estate, then it's not Amen Estate.
Don't settle for behind, beneath, beside, before, or betwixt Amen Estate. If it is not at Amen Estate, it is not Amen Estate. Key into Amen Estate Phase 2. As I was saying earlier, we are coming to bring a change to Lagos, a real and a positive change. Our manifesto lists out in detail what we plan to do in Lagos. The first thing we have to do is address the plight of the people that are required to deliver services to Lagosians. And these are the civil servants, the people who work day and night, trying their best under the most difficult of circumstances to deliver to you and I the services that we require of our government. There is a perception that is not altogether incorrect, but for the larger part, for the larger number of members of the civil service, it is unfair. And this perception is that civil servants are corrupt. That may well be so, but there are extenuating circumstances and there are also qualifications to this. The first one is that those that actually have the opportunity to grease their palms constitute but about 25% of the entire civil service. The second thing is that a lot of civil servants actually live in abject penury, and this opens them up to the suggestion of corruption and the possibility, the temptation of being corrupted. So what do? We want a 21st century government, that is clear. To feed themselves, talk less of their families. So what do? We review the wages. Civil service wages are really bad. Not only are their wages bad, their working conditions are not necessarily the best. And the tools with which they are required to work are not necessarily the most efficient. So we're going to review civil service wages across the board, but we're going to focus as a matter of urgency on 4 key staff: medical staff, educational staff, emergency response staff, and security staff. Of the last lot, security staff, we may not have the capacity to deal directly with the majority of our security staff, since security is controlled at the center, very strangely for something we call a federation. However, regardless of that, we are going to be supplying what we call the Lagos Living Allowance, specifically set aside for federally paid and federally employed security staff, including police and the NSCDC. This Lagos Living Allowance will be designed specifically to bring their monthly take-home into consonance with our economic realities in Lagos. As long as they're serving in Lagos, they will enjoy that allowance. Again, the idea is to bring people in line with the economic realities of Lagos State. So what do? All of this staff will get not only salary reviews, not only wage augmentation, but they will also get priority in terms of medical services. Medical services in Lagos State under our regime are going to be free anyway, but we will give priority to members of these 4 cadres of staff and their families, because we're going to be issuing them with something we call the Lagos State Warrant Card. This warrant card will be for them, themselves, and their spouses, and 4 offspring. So the staff, their spouse, and 4 children will all have Lagos State warrant cards, which will entitle them to priority service, and in some cases, like on our transport platforms, free transport, so that they will begin to enjoy the benefits of working for the state, and also so that they will have something to be proud of and to defend, which has been absent from Nigeria in general and from Lagos State in particular for a long time. You go to Dubai, you go to England, you see how patriotic and focused their security, medical, and so on other staff are to the cause of their country or their territory. And the reason is simply because the state takes care of them. So we need to take care of our own in order that we make it possible for them to take care of us too in return. Our teachers, well, the story of our teachers is pitiable. They are forced to teach up to 200 children in one single class. Children are being forced to sit on the ground, under trees, receiving lectures under trees. It's unpardonable in a city with the aspirations of Lagos. So what are we going to do? We are going to make the working environment more conducive for our personnel across the board. So hospitals will be upgraded. Where they do not exist, they will be built to far higher standards than we've been used to for a long time. We will also provide an IT infrastructure like we have never seen before in Lagos, as well as the software to make all government processes automated and to reduce as much as possible human interference in the processes of government. As we do all of these things, we're also going to be improving our consequence culture. That is to say, where civil servants or public officers commit any sort of offenses, there will be consequences, and the consequences will be fairly immediate. And they will be strict. There will be no mercy, but there will also be far, far better conditions of service for everyone all around. One of the things we're going to be introducing, which we find to be a major problem of civil servants, is housing. We're going to ensure that as many as possible of our civil servants enjoy the benefits of our housing program, which involves building 40,000 affordable housing units across the state over the next 4 years. However, we know that that figure is not sufficient to address the homelessness problem of Lagos, which is why we're going to also be investing heavily in infrastructure, opening up new corridors, like, for instance, the Ligali Ayorinde to Odeomi Coastal Road, which will be 10 lanes and which will traverse the length of the Atlantic coast from Ligali Ayorinde in Victoria Island to Odeomi on the border of Ogun State. This will open up that entire corridor to investment. It will open it up for growth. Alongside that, a revolutionary new idea We have all heard of the Eco-Atlantic City, and it's a laudable idea, especially as it is apparently a privately funded project. And I say apparently deliberately, because questions are still going to be asked about that. What we want to do though, instead of having this private haven for the super rich alone, what we're going to do is we're going to fill the entire Lagos coast, right from where Eco-Atlantic stops, all the way to the end of Lagos State border, all along the Atlantic coast. Because of course, most of it has been eroded by ocean action resulting from the indiscriminate filling of the Eco-Atlantic City. We have spoken to environmental experts and they advise that under the circumstances, this is actually the best way to go. Fortunately, we have knowledge and experience of the appropriate and the right institutions and companies from across the world, the best of the best across the world. We have direct experience of having seen them work even here in Lagos on private projects, and we're going to be engaging them to expand our frontiers on the Atlantic coast. This is not new. This is not a new phenomenon. It's been done around the world. Singapore, for instance, when they got independence, had a land size of only about 400 square kilometers. Today, Singapore is about 734 square kilometers in size. How did they manage it? Dredging. Dubai. A lot of the islands that you see just off the coast of Dubai are artificial, completely and totally built from the ground up. As soon as this break is over, I'll come back to you with a lot of the other things that we wish to do for Lagos. Thank you.
I want to, show the people of Lagos State that it's time to shift their loyalty from, to an individual to the people of Lagos State.
And this time, we're talking about re-anchoring Lagos.
I will tackle the traffic problem of Lagos frontally. I will need to bring about easy solutions.
I have 4 key areas that I'm focusing on. Key workers, I call them: healthcare, education, security, and emergency response people.
You see, whatever they say, they don't do it. We all know of that.
All these candidates, when people they brought them come from somewhere, just as in because they have Godfather behind them. They will not do what they're supposed to do with their mind. Because of their Godfather, they will be ruling in the influence of those that are their cabals, those who are at their back, because they are working under somebody.
If we are to go by what we want, possibly we don't even need any of these parties. We need a fresh party, because this political madness has really been coming this far.
I love Jimmy Agbaje to be the next candidate of Lagos State.
Why, sir?
Why? Because he has the heart of the Lagos people in that.
In regard to prospect, I think I look at Babatunde.
Okay.
Yeah, because his projections are actually something that actually pleases me, and I think Lagos will really, absorb him.
Man, looking at what APC candidate has been doing for some years now, let's say like 12 years, beginning from Fashola. I'm not talking about Tinubu, I'm talking about Fashola at least. So far so good. We've been witnessing what we call good road.
Yes, change is always constant, and we need another party to come and take over, and let's see what they have to offer.
We should have a new change, because I don't see anything they did. I don't see any improvement.
No, this current it can't remain, because that made many things in this country.
I think a new party should try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
The reason is because I think, there is no wrong in having something new, to be able to, at least to be able to shift away from the old ways and culture.
Okay, welcome back, guys. I talked about personnel earlier and how we plan to provide a better working environment for the people that are actually working for us and better pay to engender better loyalty to the state. The next one I want to talk about is housing. I already touched on it earlier, but I want to go into it in more detail. As we all know, Lagos State has a land problem. We only have 3,544 square kilometers of land. That limits us immensely in what we can offer in terms of housing. But that did not stop Alhaji Lateef Jakonde 35 years ago when he wanted to build 20,000 affordable housing units, and he did it in 4 years flat. Fortunately for us, construction technology has advanced in leaps and bounds. And as you all know, I am a development expert. Therefore, I'm making this ultra-conservative promise that across Lagos State we will deliver 40,000 affordable housing units in 4 years. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to go up, because obviously, like I said, we really just don't have enough land. So we're going to go 20 floors and above to provide affordable housing. Listen, this is not going to be the Ritz, it's not going to be the Hilton. It's going to be very fairly basic, but also very fairly decent, much more decent than people have access to right now. So we're going to provide this, first of all, for civil servants, secondly, for the organized private sector in that order, and then thirdly, for small business people and entrepreneurs whose income we can actually track. And this really is the crux of the matter. We need to be able to track people's income in order for us to be able to make more housing available without necessarily investing government money in housing. We're going to invest in infrastructure. We're going to open up new corridors of Lagos. Like I said, we're going to open the coastal road, and in doing so, we'll open up an entire new corridor so that real estate investors, people in my sector, will be able to look at it and see the benefits of investing in mass housing, because the state is also going to be providing mortgages via the Lagos Building Investment Corporation. And the funds from these mortgages will also come from your taxes, which we will invest in helping developers develop affordable mass housing. The key is affordability, because if people can't actually afford it, what's the sense in providing mortgages for it? Having increased salaries across the board for civil servants, it will also become generally easier for people to be able to choose the housing provision of their choice. So you will not necessarily need to buy just from government. You may also be able to buy from the private sector, depending on their price points and also their affordability. In addition to all of that, we are going to be providing alternative means of transport to make movement up and down the state easier, and therefore investment in the extremities where land is generally less expensive than around the center will become more viable for developers. And also the idea of living in the suburbs and working in the center will become more attractive to the people of Lagos State generally. The idea that the extremities are largely underserved in terms of infrastructure, that is something we're going to end in order to be able to get the private sector to invest in the extremities alongside government. At some point in the life of our administration, we're also going to be encouraging the local governments to invest in what we call council housing. This may take many forms. It may take housing that will develop, that the councils will develop for the purpose of getting rental income at a minimal rate in order to reduce the homelessness problem in Lagos. In addition to that, we will also be working very, very, very hard to encourage the financial sector to become a little more rational in the way that they provide mortgages to Lagosians. And then also, we're going to be looking very, very, very closely at the land administration process in Lagos State. The idea that you apply for a certificate of occupancy and you can be at it for the next 6 to 10 years is unconscionable for a state that actually wants to grow. We're going to end that. Being a real estate developer myself, I've been at the sharp end of government inefficiency in that regard. Also, with regard to planning issues, we're going to devolve planning to the local governments. What I plan to do is pass an executive bill to the Lagos State House of Assembly that will hand over initial planning authority to the local authorities, so that they will be the planning authority of first instance. And the Lagos State government, that is through the Ministry of Physical Planning, will be an appellate authority only, so that where planning is denied, people can actually appeal to the State Ministry of Physical Planning for a review of the denial. And where the review is approved, then they can recommend back to the local government to authorize the planning application. Of course, our planning rules will be very, very strict in terms of provision of amenities, in terms of setbacks and the like, but we will generally work very, very quickly, very, very fast. And the fact that you will be able to track all your applications online will make these activities much more easy for the residents, and will therefore hopefully improve the ease of doing business index within Lagos State. Because of course, there is no economic activity that you can carry out without first having land. You must have accommodation for your economic activity. And in recognition of that, we'll be paying very, very close attention and very close scrutiny to land issues, title issues, physical planning issues, and works issues. One of the things that will encourage private developers is the fact that we're going to be providing infrastructure, utilities and services that will be more than enough to cover what the state actually needs. Now, how do we do this? We provide water, we provide electricity at a local level, okay? We provide central sewage facilities so that the real estate investors will not need to actually begin to invest in electrical generation capacity. They will not need to invest in water treatment capacity. They will not need to invest in sewage treatment capacity. All they will need to do is build their basic infrastructure, build their homes, and they will be able to come to market. If we remove all of these costs from the cost of developing estates, real estate developers will come in and partner with government. We'll come back after the break.
All they built in 3 years is one signboard, one gate house, and one house. Yours is even better. You can see one signboard, one gate house, and one house within 3 years. In my own case, after 1 year, there was no longer a signboard. All phone numbers were unavailable. If we go.
What? That's bad. As for me, I'm glad my steps were ordered to remain in state phase 2. I saw their history, capabilities, their investment. What they put into phase 1 in terms of roads, drainages, the whole infrastructure. They're legit. I felt safe joining phase 2. taking advantage of their introductory prices.
Be smart, be wise. Key into Amen Estate Phase 2. You too can live a quality lifestyle in a serviced development where everything works. Right, some of you at home have asked questions relating to communications. It's interesting you should ask that question because it's one of my pet dislikes right now about Lagos. And the reason is not far-fetched. We have 3 transatlantic high-speed internet cables that land here in Lekki, Lagos. And each of these 3, well, 2 of these 3 are private. Well, they're all private now. The third one was Nitel Sat3. The other 2 are Glow 1 and Main 1. Unfortunately for us, despite these high-speed internet facilities, we have not seen fit to deploy fiber optic cable networks within our cities all over Nigeria, and most especially, sadly, within Lagos State, which is the beneficiary of these 3 cables. The reason is because the Lagos State government of the last 20 years, the APC, AD, AC, and whatever name they are called, ACN, decided that they wanted to profit from telecoms. And so they set up something called the Lagos State Infrastructure Management and Regulatory Agency, LASIMRA, through which they have been charging the telecoms companies, one, for putting up masts with which they've been broadcasting GSM signals on which we're making all our GSM calls. And then secondly, they've been charging them, as far back as 2011, I was aware that they were charging 3,000 naira per linear meter for the telecoms companies to dig up the roads to lay their cables. Now this is not smart. It's not the best way to develop the economy of a developing state like Lagos. In fact, it's the best way to underdevelop the economy. So what we've decided to do is we've decided to partner with the telecoms companies that have the license for domestic wired telecoms. And I think that company in this case is Glow. What we'll do as part of the Lagos Integrated Regeneration Plan is also include telecoms trunking and manholes that will enable the telecoms companies not to need to dig anymore. They'll just simply pull their cables through the trunking that we provide and through the trunking that we will design in conjunction with them, along with the Lagos State Ministry of Works and the contractors. So that when we're done, the telecoms companies will simply come, pull their cables through, and before you know what's happening, we'll have a high-speed telecoms network in Lagos besides the GSM, which is good, but is generally not particularly reliable for mission-critical applications, like, for instance, call centers, like data centers, like data warehousing, like co-location centers. All of these kinds of back-office applications are not currently doable in Lagos because we simply don't have landline telecoms. Now, once we're able to put this in place, the cost of telecommunications in Lagos generally, and in Nigeria by extension, should see a significant drop. In addition to that, by the time we provide 24 hours electricity in those 8 Lagos Integrated Regeneration Plan local governments, the cost to the telecoms companies of providing energy, for instance, to their masts will drop. It will reduce significantly enough for the cost of your calls and the cost of your services to actually reduce. So ISPs and telcos should see a significant drop in their cost of operations. And when this happens, we will be demanding that we see a concomitant drop in the cost of their services and in the quality of their services. Because of course now they'll have the wired backbone to be able to deliver higher bandwidths to any and everybody that requires them, whether they're a small business or a home business or even individuals on your phones. Now that's it about telecoms. In terms of small business, we're also setting up what we call small business grants. Well, it's not just for small businesses, it's small, medium, and even large enterprise grants that will be setting up for the immediate takeoff of business across the state. Why is this important to us? Jobs. If there are no jobs, there's nobody to tax. The Lagos state government of today keeps complaining that only 800,000 people are paying taxes. Well, that suggests to me, looking at the corporate figures for Lagos state in terms of industry, over the last 3 years especially, how many businesses have actually shut down? How many businesses have actually closed down? Now, if you have all this number of businesses closing down because of, badly thought through government policy, obviously you're not going to get that many people that are taxable. If many people have lost their jobs, I think we've got about 8 million job losses over the last 4 years across the country. And of course, because Lagos is the economic capital of Nigeria, we would have been the hardest hit in terms of those job losses. So when you complain that 800,000 people only are paying taxes out of the 24 million people, think very carefully about the policies that you implement as a government and how they impact on businesses, small, medium, and large. So we're going to be setting up grants for small, medium, and large enterprises. Like, for instance, our textile industry is more or less comatose, okay? And we, Lagosians, we're the ones that wear clothes the most in the whole of Africa. I mean, think about it. Every weekend, we all go to parties. In fact, we've come to the point where we have a hashtag. Hashtag Saturdays for Owambes. It's very popular across social media platforms. Saturdays is for Owambes. And Owambe is one of the drivers of our economy. Okay? I remember one particularly unimaginative Lagos state government had the strange idea of taxing people for merriment. They wanted to introduce a merriment tax where people paid, I think, 20,000 naira to government for the right to be able to hold parties. It's so stupid. Everything for them is about taxation. If we're not careful, if we let them come back, they're going to implement across the board, because they're already charging some people borehole tax. After failing to provide water across the state, the next thing is for them to charge you and I for the temerity to sink our own boreholes and provide our own water. That is going to end. We're going to provide water across Lagos state by introducing mini water works in every local government. Yes, Alhaji Jakonde built many of them, but they've been allowed to become moribund. And all of these water works, the existing ones, we're going to revive, we're going to retool, and we're going to re-equip, and we're going to restaff in order for them to be able to serve you and I better. In addition to that, we will also be building brand new mini water works where they do not exist at the moment. In every local government where there are no brand new water works, we will build them. So now we want to talk about power. This is the bane of our economy, the lack of reliable public power. Every business in Lagos runs on generators. I feel particularly for the hotel and leisure industry, because they have to run air conditioners and a whole lot of other complicated equipment that needs constant, reliable, high quality power, which, for whatever reason, our public utilities have not been able to supply. So for many, many years now, most of the reputable hotels in Lagos have had to run on generators and on diesel. And this, of course, has had a major impact on their bottom line in terms of the cost of their services. As if that was not bad enough, the government of Lagos State, the APC government of Lagos State, at some point decided that they wanted to introduce something they call hotel consumption tax, raising even further an already over high hotel services costs. So the result has been that Lagos State has among the highest hotel costs in the entire world. I think there are maybe 2 other territories in the world that have hotel costs that are higher than that of Lagos. Now, for a city that hankers after a tourism economy, that is not good. It is not good. It means that our tourism plans are simply castles in the sky. They will never come to fruition because no tourist that works for their money will come to the place where hotels are the most expensive in the world and which has very little to show in terms of tourism potential. So we're going to fix power. We're going to fix power so that our hotel costs will go down. And of course, in terms of tourism, we're also going to expunge hotel consumption tax from our taxes in their totality. At this point, we're going to take a break and we're going to take more calls. Please call into the program and have a conversation with me. Let's talk together about the future of Lagos State. Thank you. My name is Babatunde Gbadamosi and I'm the ADP Gubernatorial candidate for Lagos State. I call on you today to stand with me to serve our fatherland with love, with strength and with faith. I'm physically and financially invested to bring about the change we passionately desire in Lagos. But I cannot do it alone. Other political parties will bamboozle you with numerous campaign ads because they control the finances that belong to us. It's time we take it back. It's time to break free from the tyrannical powers holding on to our development and God's destiny for us. We have God, so I do not need a godfather. I have you, you have me, and we have each other, so we can achieve all things under the sun. Join us today. 1,000 naira, 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira, or 1,000,000 naira. It doesn't matter how much you donate, as long as you do donate. Please support us so that our voice can be heard. Donation information is displayed on screen, and for those of you on Instagram, you can see it in the post below you. Thank you very much.
All they built in 3 years is one signboard, one gatehouse, and one house. Yours is even better. You can see one signboard, one gatehouse, and one house within 3 years. In my own case, after 1 year, there was no longer a signboard. All phone numbers were unavailable. Ego if we go.
What? That's bad. As for me, I'm glad my steps were ordered to remain in State Phase 2. I saw their history, capabilities, their investment. What they put into Phase 1 in terms of roads, drainages, I mean, the whole infrastructure. I mean, they're legit. I felt safe joining Phase 2, taking advantage of their introductory prices.
Be smart, be wise. Key into Amen Estate Phase 2. You too can live a quality lifestyle in a serviced development where everything works.
Place safe and secure for the kids.
Okay.
With electricity 24/7.
Okay.
Good roads, no flooding. I mean, a good place to raise children. Do you have something at Amen Estate?
No. But I have something. Just sharing fence with Amen Estate.
Now we need something inside Amen Estate.
I have this one. Just right opposite Amen Estate.
No. Find us something specifically inside Amen Estate.
I have this one. Just adjacent to Amen Estate. Or even this one. Perpendicular to Amen Estate. Or this fantastic one right under Amen Estate.
No, if it's not Amen Estate, then it's not Amen Estate.
Don't settle for behind, beneath, beside, before, or betwixt Amen Estate. If it is not at Amen Estate, it is not Amen Estate. Key into Amen Estate Phase 2. In addition to all of the things that we've spoken about, we also need to recognize that there is a problem with food security in Lagos. Our farms are moribund. Our farmers are under attack, not from herdsmen, but from government. And this is a situation that we have to address as quickly as we can. Now, one of the things that we need to do is invest in innovation in agriculture. And in order to bring fresh food to your tables, we're going to be investing heavily in hydroponic agriculture across the state. This will involve the training of hundreds of thousands of young Lagosians in hydroponic agricultural techniques. We will invest heavily in hydroponic inputs like greenhouses, the plumbing materials, potting materials, nutrients for plants, and so on like that. But we will also invest, first of all, in training hundreds of thousands of willing and eager young Lagosians who will be the bedrock of the food security of Lagos going forward. Once we're able to do this, the price of every shallow root food crop that you can imagine will drop considerably in a very, very short period. Fortunately for us, hydroponics does not require the kind of turnaround time that outdoor farming requires. And therefore, within 6 to 9 months, you should begin to see a concomitant drop in the price of your average foodstuff like tomatoes, pepper, onions, cowpeas, beans. And the benefit of hydroponics is that you also get to avoid the use of pesticides. And the issue of using sniper to wash beans will come to an end because of direct government intervention and investment. Through this program, we're going to be creating thousands of agricultural entrepreneurs, young agricultural entrepreneurs that will be able to start a farming enterprise that will last generations. We're also going to be investing in livestock farming, and we're also going to be investing heavily in aquaculture. Aquaculture, not as we know it, because what we know is fish farms, but we're going to take it forward and go to the ocean. We're going to be setting up fish farms in the ocean using new techniques that are already in use across the world to farm sea fish, salt sea fish. We'll be able to farm these and we'll be able to provide the necessary protein for our people by government investment in all of these things. In addition to this, to make our offshore farming, our offshore fish farming a success, we'll be investing in the existing security architecture to ensure that our coastal waters are very well guarded away from poachers, foreign poachers of our own fish who come to poach our fish and sell it to us. It's very sad that our governments have never paid attention to this phenomenon, but we are very intent on looking after our people and our economy. And the only way to do that is to be focused, to be honest, dedicated, and persistent. And all of these things we're going to be doing for your benefit in Lagos State. Thank you for joining us. My name once again is Babatunde Gbadamosi. I am the gubernatorial candidate of the Action Democratic Party in Lagos State, and by the grace of God, the next governor of Lagos State. Thank you. My name is Babatunde Gbadamosi, and I'm the ADP Gubernatorial candidate for Lagos State. I call on you today to stand with me to serve our fatherland with love, with strength, and with faith. I'm physically and financially invested to bring about the change we passionately desire in Lagos. But I cannot do it alone. Other political parties will bamboozle you with numerous campaign ads because they control the finances that belong to us. It's time we take it back. It's time to break free from the tyrannical powers holding on to our development and God's destiny for us. We have God, so I do not need a godfather. I have you, you have me, and we have each other, so we can achieve all things under the sun. Join us today. 1,000 naira, 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira, or 1,000,000 naira. It doesn't matter how much you donate, as long as you do donate. Please support us so that our voice can be heard. Donation information is displayed on screen, and for those of you on Instagram, you can see it in the post below you. Thank you very much. Political campaigns are extremely expensive affairs. As you all know, especially those of you that live in Lagos, you've seen how the opposition parties, well, the ruling party, has wallpapered the entire state with posters. Everywhere you go, you see their posters. Some people have even alleged that they've seen their posters in their dreams. But we all know that posters do not translate to good governance. And in fact, the fact that they keep repeating good governance is an exact antithesis of what they have in fact been doing on the ground. So I want to ask you all to please donate to the BOG campaign effort, and you can do this in a number of ways. The first way is you can donate directly to a GTB account. It's 00134 88601 Guarantee Trust Bank. Once again, it's 00134 88601 Guarantee Trust Bank. You can donate directly to that, or you can go to www.gofundme/BOG4 number 4 Lagos. Again, it's www.gofundme.com/BOG4 number 4 Lagos. Additionally, you can also go to www.bog4lagos.com. It could be 4 number 4, or it could be 4FOR. www.bog4lagos.com. And there you can donate to our campaign. No amount is too small to help us push this campaign forward. If you wish to donate relief materials, you can find out about all of that on any of these websites. Well, in particular, on the www.bog.com website, you can find out how to donate campaign materials. Nothing is too small. You can donate leaflets, you can donate posters, you can donate face caps, you can donate t-shirts, and you can donate pretty much anything that you wish to donate. Some people are donating their cars for branding. If you wish to donate your car for branding, please do so. Contact us on the www.bog4lagos.com website. We can also be reached on Facebook at #TeamBOG. That's a group on Facebook, #TeamBOG2019. I can also be reached on Facebook on Babatunde Gbadamosi. That's my personal Facebook. Or you can reach me on my fan page on Facebook, Babatunde Gbadamosi. On Instagram, it's Babatunde Gbadamosi, one word. On Twitter, it's at BO Gbadamosi. Again, on Twitter, it's at BO Gbadamosi. Let's join hands together. Let's put our resources together, and let's see if we can change Lagos for once and for all this time around. Thank you.
Look, do you know the feeling when your plan know they work? Mama know they work, Papa know they work. All your brother and your sister, they want the chop. Farabale, oh yeah, reason waiting at the talk. Oh no, they don't understand. I come out last Sunday, you know be my friend. Oh no, they don't understand. Don't question, need to see me in the best. So I call on Jehovah. Jehovah bless my way. Ngbọ́n tán bá nínú ìgbẹ́ lówó wá ṣò lè bẹ́ sínú sọ́kàwé. Oh yeah, I beg you my party take it easy. Everything wey dey ṣẹlẹ̀ get reason. You go blow, I go blow, you go shine, I go shine. Nobody wey no get season. Láàlá tó rókè ilẹ̀ ló ń bọ̀. Àwọn tó fẹ́ dọlọ́rọ̀ láyé wọ́n yapa gan wọ́n pọ̀. Mo ní láti kékeré ni wọ́n ti ń sọ fún mi pé kìràkìtà ò dọ́là láyé. Ẹni mọ̀wé ṣá ló mọ̀wé. Ó nẹ́sẹsẹ, ó nẹ́sẹsẹ rí àti lówó nẹ́sẹsẹ. Ó nẹ́sẹsẹ rí ó nẹ́sẹsẹ, ó nẹ́sẹsẹ rí àti lówó nẹ́sẹsẹ.